Welcome to the Senior Notebook. My name is Beth Stranges. I am one of the Senior Notebook team members, and I am joined today by Jack Andrus.
Thank you.
Jack is going to talk to us about an amazing opportunity he had recently. You got to lay the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Yes, it was a great honor for me to do so.
Oh my gosh. So we really want to talk about that today, Jack.
All right.
So tell me a little bit about the tomb of the unknown soldier and what happens there with that wreath laying ceremony.
Well, it was very exciting. It was a great honor for me to do so because usually dignitaries lay the wreath and things of this nature and so on. So, but anyway, I was one of two. World War II Air Force pilot and I were honored to put a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Oh my gosh. And this was in Arlington, Virginia.
And this is Arlington. And some of the interesting facts of Arlington, 440,000 people are interred. 400 of those are Medal of Honor winners, which is the highest award can be awarded to a veteran.
Oh my goodness. What an honor it was for you to be able to go there.
It was unbelievable for me.
So tell me about how this transpired.
Well, actually, I received a call and asked if I was interested in taking an honor flight. And I was amazed. And I said, well, absolutely yes, and so on. But anyway, then I received a second call from Larry Sherman and said, would you be interested in laying a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier? Well, at this time, I'm dumbfounded, and so on. I said, absolutely, I would be honored. And I did so. And it was very, very rewarding to do this.
Now, can you tell me just who was Larry Sherman?
Now, Larry Sherman was my guide throughout the entire weekend. Okay. He is a former Navy Seabee chief, which is an E7, and so on. And he was my guide throughout the whole entire weekend. So
your weekend consisted, so when you went out to Arlington, what was your weekend? What did it consist of? How many days were you gone?
I was gone, actually, I started on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we came back late Sunday afternoon. Okay. Evenings, I should say, yes, and so on.
And how many people traveled there that weekend?
Well, there were 2 bus loads when we got to Washington. I would say there were about 96 veterans altogether.
Wow.
And so on.
That must have been extremely emotional.
It was a very emotional time because these veterans came in from all different areas, not just Chemung County.
Right.
I don't know if they might have been out of New York State as well.
Oh, wow. It could be.
Yeah, that's very possible.
So you were selected to place the wreath.
Yes, which was a great honor.
Yes. And when you did that, tell me how you felt. You know, when you went up there. It was
fine when I was handed the wreath by the old guard, and the Air Force was on the right hand, I was on the left-hand side. When I took a hold of the wreath, some nostalgia took over me. Oh. And I became, I don't know, it's hard to describe. What comes over an individual when you do this?
And you realize.
Being so honored to being able to touch that wreath, put it on the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Oh my goodness, because our unknown soldiers gave their ultimate sacrifice.
Yes, and so on. But there is a little history to that. Mm-hmm. The guide from the bus indicated that there will never, ever be an unknown soldier again to the whole group. Now, there were several hundred of us altogether, EMTs, guides, and nurses, and what have you, were there in case of an accident should occur, and so on. But anyway, you know why there will never be another unknown soldier?
Now, I do know why, only because you told me.
Anyway.
But I want you to, now when people were talking about that, when that was shared with you.
Yes, it was shared with me by the group, the bus that I was on, and it's a very simple thing.
Right.
DNA.
Technology has come really far.
How things have progressed over the years and so on. Amazing, anyway.
Yes, and it is good that there will never be another
there's only
soldier.
4 there now, and there will never be another.
Well, Jack, I know that you've shared some of your memorabilia from that day with
Yes.
us here. We'll make sure we get some pictures of that.
Okay.
And I just want to thank you for your service as being a veteran, and thank you for taking the time to come here and talk with us. We know how important it is to have those that serve our country and that respect and honor those that have given their ultimate sacrifice. So thank you so much, Jack,
Yes, ma'am.
for coming and for always just being so kind and welcoming.
Well,
and
it's a great
sharing.
experience to go on this for a weekend, and I encourage every veteran, if he has the availability, to take it.
If you're
because
asked,
it's no charge.
take the trip.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today. We'll be right back.
We now return to the Senior Notebook on WENY.
Hi, welcome to the Senior Notebook. My name's Beth Stranges. I'm one of the Senior Notebook team members here, and I am joined today by Jack Andrus.
Thank you.
Jack is he was a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army, and we are here to talk a little bit about your history with military service and your life while you weren't active duty serving.
Well, okay. When I started my career off when I was 16 years old, actually you should have been 17, but I was tall for my age, and I was in the Navy Reserve, and at that time was the Water Board.
In Elmira.
In Elmira. And I did 3 years with them, went over, I had more friends that were in the National Guard, had more rank than I did, so my ETS came up, I went over to the National Guard.
Did you make a little more
Because it
money?
meant a little more money, and so on. So consequently, I served 12 years with the National Guard, and then I went on active duty for 15, came back to the Army Reserve again for the last 4.
Oh my goodness.
So
Now, in the mix of this, you're teaching at Parley Coburn.
yes, I taught as a
Elementary.
substitute at Parley Coburn, and at that time, teachers didn't have the rights that they have today. So consequently, if you were going on maternity leave or any sick leave or whatever the case may be, you didn't come back until the next following year in September.
Okay. And you were able, now did you enjoy that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I enjoyed teaching,
Yes.
period. And that's what I did a lot in the military.
I was going to lead into that just a little bit. So in the military, you also had the role of teacher.
Yes.
So what did you teach?
I taught a program called 54 Bravo, which was NBC, Nuclear Biological Chemical Warfare School, and so on. I taught trainers, not troops.
Okay.
I had to certify the trainers to go then to teach troops, and so on.
And so when you were teaching the trainers what was it that you were sharing with them, the importance of that?
On nuclear warfare,
Right.
as to how to survive in nuclear warfare.
How to protect
God
themselves.
forbid that we have any.
Exactly. But there is that training available. And we always talk about, sometimes training the trainers is really important, right? Because
Well, they had to go out and train the troops, and they had to be certified. It was our team that had to certify those individuals to be the proper trainers for the troops.
yes. Now, I want to talk just a little bit about your careers in teaching at Parley Coburn, but also I wanted to talk to you about did you build relationships with students over the years so that they knew that you were in the military?
Oh yes, definitely. Because they thought that I was too much military in the school and so on. But school's teaching has changed a great deal from what it was when I did it and to today.
Yeah. Now, have any of your students that you've maybe reconnected with, have any of them joined the military that you were aware of?
I do not know. I do not know.
I wondered about
and so
that.
on, but-
Because sometimes, people make big impacts on our lives, especially
Oh, absolutely.
as
They're a
children.
great influence. In fact, that's what a teacher is to influence you
Yes.
for the life that you're going to encounter when you become an adult.
Right.
That's the aspect of teaching today.
Yeah, and it's really important. So I just wondered, if you had knowledge of, or any students have come
Not
up
that
to
I'm
you
aware
to
of, no,
say-
ma'am.
No. Well, we appreciate what you did, and you did it back. What years did you teach?
That
at
was
Parley
what,
Coburn?
57, 58, and 59.
Okay. Wow. I'm sure.
As a substitute,
As the substitute, right? Were you a substitute for a long time, though?
yes. Yes.
And like the
So-
long-term stuff,
Yes, and
right?
so on. But it would vary depending on what would the teacher who would normally teach 4th, 5th, or 6th grade, and you would set in if they were unable to fulfill their teaching career for that year.
Right, right. You had to do that. So tell me about really quick. I know that we'll wrap up here in a minute, but tell me about the branches. Which
Well,
branch that you served in did you like most? Is
I
there
would
one?
say active duty.
Active duty.
Active
okay.
duty, it
And
was-
why? Why did you
Well,
like that
it
one?
was interesting to know that we're trying to protect the population of this country, the United States, and in the event of a nuclear holocaust. And we may be experiencing one again. Who knows?
Right, and it's important to make sure that we have protections and we
Yes,
have.
and so on. So there are certain procedures that you have to go through to protect the troops, to protect the general public.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that little bit about, your life as an active duty member as well as when you were in the reserves. I really appreciate that. And I know our viewers will gain some really good insight for what you've done and what
Thank
you've
you.
shared. Thanks so much.